Hello and welcome to the Edge of Midnight channel. I'm your host, Jason, otherwise known as Queber, otherwise known as Calranth sometimes, or even Pyros, but I am Jason. Jason. Let's try this again. I've got a bit of a headache, but I wanted to put this video out there. And my throat doesn't seem to be cooperating. Yes, we can do this. And this is about dementia. I used to think that cancer was the worst illness. I don't anymore. Even without having bowel cancer myself, even with my wife suffering for 21 years with cancer, I believe that dementia is worse, with a caveat and in context. For the carer, it is the worst. To watch that person that you love slowly fade away. And as far as I know, we might have some treatments in the pipeline, but if you're told you've got dementia of different kinds, you are pretty screwed. But you can slow it down a bit, and the drugs that slow it down work on some people, not on others. It's just the way it is. And different kinds like vascular dementia, Alzheimer's, there's lots of different versions. But as a carer, to watch this person, whether it's your parents or anyone, because you can get it quite young, dementia, to watch them slowly fade away. And there's nothing you can do about it. And the mental fading away, the losing of the personality, the losing of who you knew. For carers, for friends, it's hands down the worst. For the person it's happening to start with, it's terrifying. There's a lot of denial. Let's try this one. But once you get past a certain stage, you forget that you've forgotten. That's the key thing. A person with dementia, as long as you help them not to be confused, can spend most of their time not knowing that something's wrong. And that is the only positive. It's a horrible positive, but it is a positive. When they don't remember you, unless you remind them on, they're not in pain because they've lost that memory. They don't know that they've lost that memory because it's no longer there. My mum spent a lot of time talking to people in mirrors, because she no longer recognised herself. She thought the person in the mirror was someone else. The person in the mirror was her best friend. She would make plans with them. If we did something she didn't like, she'd go up to mirror and start talking and rubbing her hands like this, like as if she was making cunning plans and chatting and whispering to the person in the mirror. But dementia, for a carer, it's one of the hardest things to face, especially if it's someone you care about, someone you really care about, because you watch this person fade away. I'm my mum's son. I love my mum. We knew each other really well. We had many amazing memories. And to watch that person who brought me up fade away is not, it's just beyond words. Let's get this done. There we are. Let's do it slowly. It started off for my mum, and dementia is unique in everybody. The disease affects different parts in different people first. There's like stages of dementia, but they don't really work. You see, you're both supposed to check on people and how they're going by asking them and what they remember, what year it is, things like that. My mum, her speech centre got hit first, which is unusual. We first noticed that something was wrong when she couldn't find certain words. Certain words just weren't there for her. She was tested and found to have early onset dementia. And she was in complete denial about it. Because she couldn't see it from, you only see it from the outside. And this is the problem. You can't bring them into your world. You have to be in you have to accept and be in their world. We moved down to live next door to look after a home. Everybody said we did an amazing job, that most people would have put them in a home earlier. Because we were both there and we could support them, and Paola could help as well. The funny things were things like she had no social boundaries anymore. Pretty early on. No social boundaries at all. She would walk into your house if the door was open and pick up items, and you'd find them upstairs under her pillow. Your remote controls, wireless keyboards, spoons, bits of jewellery. And then she'd leave expensive rings in your house. We were always finding bits of jewellery all over the place. And she spent a lot of her time talking to the blacked out windows in the shed. She loved talking to the birds, and the birds loved her. I mean, there was an innocence about it. She got into routine. She'd like to clean the windows again and again. And I mean again and again. The outside windows would be cleaned, the PVC would be cleaned. Any bit of dust on the floor, she'd have to pick it up. And this was early on, and it's amazing how quickly it progressed to the point very quickly. Within 6 months, you could not understand anything she said. It was all some weird language that she was talking that was really strange. And she'd start repeating words like, or numbers like, she'd start speaking and then she'd say 44444. Then she'd stop for a second and she'd say 44444. But she was still there. We could tell she was still there. And she started to not be interested in how she looked as much. Her eating habits. You had to basically feed her snacks on the go, because she wouldn't sit down. You couldn't get her to sit down to eat, so you had to just pass her a biscuit or a cornetto or something, just anything to get some energy inside her. You couldn't try to feed her food that was healthy for her or anything like that. And then she started to damage the house. She'd slam the doors. And believe me, a person with dementia who's still got their strength, who's still got a strong body, who always looked after their body, can do a lot of damage. She would switch between being furiously angry and giggling like a child within a second. but slowly degraded. Slowly, these were just outbursts. But more and more she got enveloped with her mirrors and wanting to watch the people inside the mirrors and speak with those. She slowed down. She stopped recognising me, stopped recognising Trevor. She used to come into my house, come upstairs in the house and try to drag... You've seen the big wardrobe behind me. An old style gentleman's wardrobe inside. It's from like the 1920s, I believe. She was convinced that that was her mother's. And she'd come in the house, climb up the stairs and try to take it with her back into her house. She was convinced that Tony, her first husband, was still alive. And she slowly began to speak to her mother, who was dead. She thought it was her mother she was speaking that was in the mirror. And these were all okay. These were all... We knew it was coming. But then it got to the point where they lose their ability, their complete social aspect goes up. You can't take them to supermarkets or things like that, because if someone's fat, they'll tell them they're fat, and they'll shout it out. It says, "Why is that person?" It can be funny to start with, but it gets worse. You can't take them to the cinema. You want to. We used to go out together, but when she starts standing up in the middle of a cinema and shouting at the screen when she gets excited, you have to watch what films you show on TV. Because if there's a fight scene, if she watched the original Avengers, when the fight seemed on, she'd go up to the screen and start punching it. She had no off button, no concept of how to stop. But when it got bad was when she basically turned into a child. She started to eat dirt in the backyard, like a child would. Put things in their mouth, anything. She had no control of her bodily functions. And not only that, you had her in a diaper, but she would always have her hand down the diaper. That's not pleasant. But you deal with it, because you have to. But you watch this person that was so intelligent, so independent, that taught me all that was good about me, that made me into a person who could look after Paola, that taught me right and wrong. And there's nothing left. There's no recognition there. Her anger became worse. And believe me, the amount of carers that have bruises and damage to themselves because the person with dementia will just lash out, and they lash out instantly, and they lash out cunningly. I've seen my mum in a position where it took a security guard and 2 carers to hold her in place. She was in the hospital, she was walking down a corridor, and she looked like some little golem because she'd hunched over. She looked as if she had nothing about her at all. And then all of a sudden she switched. After she'd been hugging the woman for a while, she grabbed one of the carers and slammed her into the wall and pushed her face into the wall. Instant from hugging to attack. It took three of us, including and me, so four of us, to stop it. And her hands were like steel. Her arms were like steel. You cannot imagine the strength that these people have when they go off the rails. So we got on a bed, and I could tell. I mean, the security guard for the hospital deals with a lot of stuff in A&E. You get drunks and everything, druggies and that. And he was absolutely in total shock that this woman, who was 5 foot, who looked as withered and as pale and half dead, grabbed hold of him and grabbed hold of the thing, and we were having to hold with our entire weight to hold her legs down so she would stay on the bed. And the screams and anger coming out of her were terrifying. No carer will be ready for that. Burpee. Better put down the thing, you know. I'm talking too much and almost got killed then. So, the last days we had her at home, and me and Trevor looked at... Trevor was amazing. He loves her so much. He's amazing. He's my adopted father, basically. He finds things hard to deal with. He's not someone I can talk to. He's the kind of person who, when he's had a bad day, or when something happens, or when he thinks about his mum, his way of coping is to go to the pub and have a drink. That's as far as he can go. And it's just the way he is. I don't fault him for that. We all deal with different. But one night, Trevor rang me up at 2 o'clock in the morning and saying help. Just left me a text message, and I went over. In my mum's bedroom, which is gorgeous, she had a full wall width mirrored wardrobe. And these were real mirrors. These were heavy. They weren't plastic. They were glass. Old style. About 6 foot by 8 foot panes in each part. Mum had managed to rip one of them out of its runners and thrown it across the room. Actually thrown, you imagine the weight. She had managed to grab it, and she had, for some reason, they'd gone bed, she had got up, grabbed it and thrown it across the room. There was glass and shards everywhere. Trevor had to hold her in the corner while I tried to clean things up. It still shocks me now, the amount of power she had and strength she had at that point in time still. It's scary. And we knew that she was now risking herself, because the second thing she did, once we had cleaned up, she went in the bathroom. I was wondering, she doesn't use the bathroom anymore. Why did she go in the bathroom? And then we hear a crack. We walk in the bathroom and she's ripped off a ceramic tile off the wall, and these were held in place pretty well. And one corner of the tile she had bitten off and was chewing it in her mouth and grinning. To associate that person with who I knew as my mum, I knew my mum was basically gone. This was a feral animal, a pure instinct of violence. She calmed down after a while, but she was she was never the same again. And we had to call up the social workers, and for them to take him in, it's a very harrowing situation. They have to bring out 2 separate social workers. It can't be the social worker that works with you. It's got to be 2 separate unbiased social workers. And a set of doctors have to come out. And they all have to see her and decide. Now, the social worker warned us this can take months to go through, because they've all got to agree that she's got to be sectioned, she's got to go into hospital to be assessed, that she can no longer be looked after at home. So you expect this to be a long thing. It took them 10 minutes. They came in, they saw her, they went into the kitchen to have a discussion, and within 10 minutes they were ready to sign the forms and section my mum so she could go into the dementia ward at the hospital, the Heartland. And they were all looking at us like, how the hell were you able to look after this person at this stage at home? Once again, we just did it because we loved her. The moment it became obvious, the moment she started being a danger to herself, that is the moment when we said we couldn't. That anything else, the shit, the mess, every 10 minutes she'd have rearranged the rooms, pulling chairs and sofas off the wall to the other side of the room. The mess she made by when she went upstairs, the first thing she did was disassemble the bed. And I do mean disassemble the bed. Every cover would be ripped off the bed. The mattress would be slung against the wall. This is a king size mattress, would be slung against the wall somewhere. She'd have pulled that off. And the base would be turned over. The room would be wrecked within 10 minutes, and then you'd have to go in and you couldn't, if you stopped her. It was like she had all this built-in energy, all this built-in anger and frustration inside her, and she had to get it out. And if you tried to, and if she couldn't physically bring it out of herself, she was, let's just say, there's worse things than a room being ripped apart. We had to take her handbags off her because she would use them as a weapon. She'd be constantly hitting Trevor over the head and bottle per body. He could deal with it, no problem. And combs, anything like that, she'd use to stab him. We had to lock down the cutlery drawers and things like that. You don't expect something like this. But yeah, it happened. And so she went into the Heartland, the place. They checked her out. They were all of the same opinion. There's no way she can come back home. She's gone past that stage, and they were all saying the same thing. They were so amazed that we had looked after her for so long. And the thing is, you always feel like you should do more. That's the thing. Trevor still feels guilty now that he should have done more. She's now in Lawton Rise, and she's got to the stage where she's sedated a lot of the time. She's at the end stage of it, where she's just fading away. The mind's gone completely. It's the body. It's because she had such a healthy body. Once her body stops moving, then once she starts lying down more. But she was she walks the corridors. She's a pacer. She walks the corridors from one end to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next. And you'll learn something, that you watch your hands when you're around her and other dementia patients, because they'll grab hold of your hands and they hold on to you like with steel grips, and it will take a couple of people to remove her hands. It's like a dog locking its jaws on your hands. You cannot get them off. You think this frail person, but they're like vice grips. It's terrifying for a carer, but you do it because you love them. I feel sorry for anybody going through it. I'm not sugarcoating any of this, because you don't need the sugar. You need to know what's coming if you're going to deal with something like this. It's why I class it as the worst. Oh, I'm gonna die. Ooh, that was close. I thought I would die then. Oh well. It is a very harsh illness for those around, for those caring. You do it because this person brought you up, this person you care a deep amount about. It's another one of those situations where people say, how did you do this? I couldn't do that. Bullshit. If you've got someone you really love, you'll do it. Yay, I got money again, yay. Let's put another one on because I need the money. I need the money. I'm poor. I need money to get the big new monkey out. Yeah. I've almost done all of them for this, so hard. Let's see. Impopable. Why does that sound a bad one? Okay. Impopable will test your balloon popping skills to the max. Oh, fun. Okay, so I need to be on the ball. I need to be focused. Alright, so we've got that there. There, so we're covering as much as possible. Get out the free monkey. Yee-hee. Right. My mum's gone. She isn't dead, but she's gone. When people say about euthanasia shouldn't be allowed and that and all this bullshit, and it is bullshit, you go through looking after someone with dementia and you tell me after you've done that people shouldn't be able to be put down. And I'm sorry, that's what I'm saying, putting down. My mum is no longer there. She walks around with the finger in her mouth. She eats stuff off the floor. If she was at all cognitive of what had happened to her, she would die of shame. She would die of shame. And I'm not saying she should, that the euthanasia should, we wouldn't let a dog go through this. We wouldn't let our pets go through something like this. Would we? We wouldn't. We'd do something about it if we cared for animals. But we allow, because nobody has the balls to take on the hard choices. There is a point in time in dementia when all the doctors say, sign you off their books, when they say, we can't do anything else. There's nothing we can do. At that point, you should, if there's complete consent from everybody that this person is not coming back, that there's no way for it to come back, all it's going to be is a slow, deteriorating, horrifying mess, then the choice of ending it should be there. This isn't like someone who might come back from a coma or is disabled and you're trying to get their money or something stupid like that. This is a person whose life has ended, whose body is just playing catch up, and who is draining the resources of the family. Any finances that they put together will be used up. And their dignity is gone and everything's gone. We shouldn't be forcing them to continue because there's no way back. And that's the thing at the moment. There is no way back. Maybe in the future there will be, but at the moment there is no way back. When you reach that stage. And it's really horrible to see. I have said to people, if I ever was diagnosed with dementia, I would top myself. I would end it. Not because I was depressed, not because I was, because if mine was a type of dementia that couldn't be fixed, as soon as I knew that, I would make plans. And I would not involve anybody else so they couldn't be in trouble. I would take responsibility before I had no responsibility. But no politician will bite the bullet, because it can be a career-ending vote. Who wants to be remembered to bringing back in euthanasia? But there is a case for it, and anybody who says there isn't, spend some time on a dementia ward. I have a picture of my mum when she was in hospital because of one of the illnesses, and she looks like a corpse, withered, crunched up in a ball, in pain, suffering because she doesn't know what's going on. When they tried to put a cannula into her vein, you would think people were trying to rape her or kill her son. The noises that came out of her, the screams, the heart-rending terror, because you couldn't explain to her what was being done. You face that, and then tell me that euthanasia shouldn't be a thing in this country. You face that and look me in the eye and say that all life is precious and that we can't take life. We're too civilized for it. I failed my mum because, and this is the one time I failed my mum. "20 years ago, she had a friend who had dementia. She helped the wife look after him. And one Saturday morning, and it was a Saturday morning, she sat down with me at the table in our house, and she said, "I need to ask you something." We were pretty straight talking, and she said to me back then, she said, if I'm ever like that, if I ever get dementia, end it for me. And for the longest time while she was at home, I considered it. I thought of all the ways I could do it. But then I realised I couldn't. I had to look after Paula. I had to put Paula first. And can you imagine how that felt to me? That I failed my mum. My mum had asked me to do something, and I couldn't do it. It still bothers me that I couldn't fulfill that wish of hers. I know she doesn't know that I didn't fulfill a wish. But it does get to you. I couldn't chance it because if I ended up in prison, if I ended up anything like that, who would look after Paula? This was the time when Paula's illness was getting worse, when her kidneys were starting to fail. I failed my mum because I had to put my wife first. No one should be in that situation. No one should have to make that choice. No one. It's like when Paola started first being ill, we had no money, and I had to choose between paying an electricity bill. I got lots of CCJs at the start of Paola being ill because we had no money, and I had to choose to be either pay a bill or be at the hospital looking after Paola. And that was no choice at all. My credit rating went through the floor. What do you do? Impossible choices. But yeah, I failed my mum. People say that I didn't, but as far as I'm concerned, I failed my mum. And that is hard to take. Oh boy. Ooh. I need to pause this and get something else out. We don't have enough things that can actually see cloaked sneakies. I knew there was something I wanted to do. Let's get the... haven't really even put it out to bloom. Okay. Life can suck. People say I've been through a lot. I guess I have. I mean, when people hear about my life and what I've faced, it's usually met with disbelief. The fact that I'm still around. The fact that I managed to cope. And the funny thing is, well, it's not really funny, it's ironically, crazily, oh my god, you're all going to die. That's funny. But the funny thing is, there's a Carry On movie, a black and white one, where they're in the army. And there's a guy who's a complete hypochondriac, but he's not really a hypochondriac. They find out after doing all the tests that he has nearly every illness in the world. But because he has every illness in the world, they all balance out inside him. It's like he's perfectly healthy because he's perfectly balanced with every illness is inside him. He isn't a hypochondriac, he actually has all those illnesses. It's really funny. But my ADHD, my depression and everything else allowed me to cope in a way that a normal person couldn't. How bad is that? I mean, seriously, how bad is that when that's a good thing? Oh, let's put another one of these here. I don't know what's coming, but we can burn, baby, burn. This was a longer video than I thought, but when you look at my life, when I take stock, when I look at it like this, which I don't usually do, when I put down on the track, on talking to you, just how much I've gone through, just how much I've faced, I wonder how the hell I'm still around. I wonder how I managed to cope. I'm not blowing my own trumpet. I mean, anybody who looks into my case and how much I have faced will be wondering, what the hell? Is this guy cursed? It's another reason to show that this channel, the Twitch channel, also everything I do with you people helps so fucking much. And I'm not saying that you are. I'm not pandering to get more viewers or anything like that. I'm saying, yeah, you guys. You made a big bloody bad words difference to me. And you still are making a bloody bad, wonderful difference to me. Whee! Boom, 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 boom. Oh, I've got to make it to 100. I didn't expect. Maybe I should put out a I'm gonna turn all your monkeys into addicted to my potion of nubiness. And I so miss Paola. It's really fucked up though. Really fucked up when you think about it, because I know that she died at the right time. As silly as that is to say, her heart was at 14%. Even if we had got home, the elephant in the room was that the dialysis was stopping her cancer medication from working. It was removing it before it could do its job. Her leukemia count was going up. Even if we had made it home, we had a very dark path, because there was no way in hell that she could go back on chemotherapy. There was no way in hell that she could do anything to fight the cancer if it did come back. And we couldn't stop the dialysis. How could we stop the dialysis? Because the dialysis was keeping her alive. So that was in our future. She had a wonderful last 24 hours. We talked. That morning she played her game. She was happy. She talked to her. She never knew that I had cancer. She never learned that I had cancer. That would have killed her. But at the same time, I fucking miss her so much, and I would do anything to have her back. But I know I can't, because even if it was possible to go back in time to warn them that this was coming, to have the stuff ready, that she was going to have 2 coronary cardiac arrests, and do something emergency to stop it, she would have gone back to her life of pain and suffering and cancer in the near future, she probably wouldn't even have made it to Christmas. So that's how fucked up it is in my head. That I know one side of me was like, the other side of me like, ugh. Now I need to focus. I need to focus because I haven't set aside all the stuff that needs to be set up to take on this evil stuff that's going to come soon. And it will come soon because we're getting high now, we're getting close to the end. And this is Impopable. Impopable is bad. Impopable will kick my ass, and I don't want to put any money on it when they're sold to that. So now let's start getting some stuff out. Oh, I should have had stuff out to make money. I should have had stuff out to make money, and I didn't. So I've screwed myself probably, because this lot won't cope with what's coming. Okay, so what do we need? Let's put together a set of druids just here. A set of 5 druids and set them up to accelerate each other's firepower. 5 druids, you'll be the main one. Still going up. Right, so that's that set up. Let's set up a firewall just here. A firewall. Going to fire them out before I do anything else with them. Okay. So we've got the firewall out. What else? Think, Jason. Think, Jason. Right. I need to start building up an active defense. Yeah, that's perfect. You'll see what these do in a bit. Now I'm focusing. Yeah. We need to slow this down. See, these allow you to do something like that and damage them as they come out. I want to put you here. No, I can't use you because I don't want to affect the fire. I need another. I need. Oh, sugar. Let's get rid of some of those or affect them badly. That can do something and that can do something. Let's do a Batman. The Dark Knight. Oh, this is going to be a problem. Ooh. Right. What do I need? Let's make sure that that's maxed out. Wish we could max that out. We are doing what we can with what we got. We are in deep. Might not make it, might not stop them. Auto start. Want to turn off auto start, continue. So even if I make it over this. Woohoo! Okay. We made it. This is hectic now. Now I have to concentrate if I want to make it to level 100. There's a reason this is called Impopable. Now, what can I get out that's worst case scenario? Let's add one of those. Faster production, even faster production. Robo shredders, spike storm. Yes. Have it going slow so I can react with the active abilities. This is why this game's got so much depth and so much of a following. Okay. Okay, so what to put down now? We're around 96, we're getting close. You should be on that anyway, you should be on that as well. What have we got that we can do? What can we do now? We have 4,000. Now there's a other tactic that you can use. I don't really have the space for it. Actually I do, but I don't have the time. But that's okay. So what you do, good thing is this will be able to take, it'll take a while to sort out this one, so I won't be able to use it this time. This is going to be the Ninja Super Deluxe. Okay, so I've got no more, may as well just go forward to the next round and I will survive hopefully. You can stack a certain ability on these. We have a lot of power here, but this is hardcore now. We're going to beat the crap out of stuff. So I want to save all these until We're in real trouble. We're in trouble, but we're not in real trouble. This would have been much easier if I had planned it out, like if I had got some monkey banana farms out and got extra money coming in and all those kind of things. Okay, so we didn't get much money. Okay, so this is the one. I'll show you what it means. Increases attack speed of all ninjas nearby. More shinobi means more attack speed. So if I take each one of these will increase these. If I set just one guy to be a maximum one, and all the rest, once if I can do it, I'm a bit late. 95 is one of the hardest levels. No, it doesn't go incremental. There's certain levels that are classed as hell levels that are going to be harder than the ones that come after them. We might not be able to do that. Damn it. Oh, that's annoying. Do I want to try it? Can I do it if I put 500 in? I'll knock me down, but I'm at round 98. I mean, come on. Oh, well, let's do it. I don't care. Let's do this. Right. What can I put in that will... I have 22,000. Now. Okay. I'll make him the ninjutsu. Now, I'm counting on that. I'm also counting on that. If it comes to it, I will use that to get past this round. But at the same time, I've got all these. That'll sticky them. This will get rid of their cloaks so everybody can hit everything. These are nasty spiky things. I can even put down ready-made balloons to help. I have a lot of them. What are you? Okay. I want to get this one done. What are you? Ooh. That'll help. Now what else? Come on. Do we have any? Ooh, what's that one? Just now, once we dealt with the fire in there, what have we got on you? We don't have to worry about the fire all the way over here, so it might be nice to slow you down. And yes, we will start, and we will go to powers. We will wait with the super monkeys of doom. Worst case scenario. Use these now because then I can use them later. They will recharge by the time I need them. In fact, I can use that, can't I? Am I going to make it? Oh, I made it. Didn't have to use it. Okay. We have money, we have stuff, we have... Okay, so we can... put him as a master one. Okay, the last round, which is going to be a pain in the butt as well, so I will be ready on that if I need it. Ooh, purple. Purple, not good, not good, not good. It's the purple one of doom. Oh, this is going to be problematic. Come on. Come on, come on, come on, come on. We can do it. Oh, we can do this. Bloody hell. Okay, okay, okay. And my money's gone up and then down again. Okay. This is Jason for the Edge of Midnight channel, signing off. I was not expecting to be doing that much. This can be a long video. So let's press the button. I'm going to go have something to eat. I haven't eaten yet. So bye bye for now. Bye bye.